on this horrible waiting list. Right, apologies for absence. I have from Stefan, I think Ian is still, he's not watching cricket, but he's still the other side of the world, and Tom might be late. Declarations of interest. Do we have any declarations of interest? No, I see none. Public participation, well, we haven't got any public to participate. So moving on to the minutes. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes, or are they happy to be accepted as a prerequisite of the meeting? Yeah, all in favour? Good. Progress. Well, there's been a lot of progress, Charlotte, hasn't there?
Yes. Yeah, quite the update.
Yes. Riverbank repairs, that's really an update, and the Baby Loss Memorial Tree. The old fire station gallery, I read your update here. Anything more to say on that?
We have our next progress meeting on Thursday this week. All the windows have finally arrived, and they should be motoring with recovering the roof at this stage.
Right.
So it's disappointing that it's a delay, but yeah, we're not foreseeing any further delays.
Right, and the scaffolding's coming down, is that still on?
That's still at
on
the
schedule?
moment, we haven't had our meeting yet this week, but as of our last meeting, it's still on track for the 26th.
When will it actually be usable?
So we should get the building back at the beginning of February, and then as we've had the roof done, it would be nice. The floor's looking rather awful. It would be nice to get the floor sorted.
Right.
So we're hoping towards the end of Feb.
So we'll be reletting, using it from 1st of March, sort of.
Full steam ahead.
Yeah. 1st of May.
March. Yeah.
Yes. So have we got people lined up?
We have.
Have we?
We have, yes.
Excellent. So we'll be back in business. Lovely. Well, thanks for monitoring that. Chapel's nothing new. Allotments. Now you met them yesterday, the 12th.
Yes, we did.
Yes.
And I do have a bit of an update about that. So national guidance and feedback from other councils that we've reached out to confirm that while the water baths are good practice, rainwater harvesting alone is unlikely to sustain the sites during long periods of dry weather. Both our sites should definitely increase usage of water baths. Less than half of our plot holders are using them currently. So that's really something that they need to work on. Woodley Town Council have 60 open tanks across. They've got one very large site, and they've got these 60 open tanks connected up to one main, and they do not recommend that we install big tanks across our sites. They're open, they use a lot of water for evaporation, insects congregate in there. Also a health and safety risk, trying to keep, nobody from toppling.
Yes.
Yeah, so there hasn't been a clear solution forward. I think it's going to be lots of sort of fairly small things that we can do. Initial discussions with contractors say that shallow boreholes at both sites are feasible, and the initial quotes that are coming in are around 35,000 plus VAT, plus the cost of getting electricity to Greencroft allotment.
Right.
So
it is feasible, and there's a huge cost which we would have to.
And also it doesn't solve the problem of, so the boreholes will go in, but they'll still be in these positions across the site. So people will still need to fill up their watering cans and then hock that water across to their plot, and that's one of the biggest concerns, is that they're struggling carrying their
hose pipes. Can you attract a hose to them? And
they are doing that at Waterman's. Other allotments that I've spoken to, other town councils, they don't allow their plot holders to have hoses. So I don't know,
because we allowed an individual. You do it, water, and you turned it, and they take it away. That sort of thing. That's interesting. I mean, that's quite some progress, really. Interesting ideas.
Well, in the short term, we've identified that we need to standardise the size of the water troughs at Greencroft, because some have got big troughs where they're pumping water in, and some are not really suitable. So we're going to look at the cost of standardising that, and then installing troughs at Waterman's so that there can be some sort of rainwater capture there as well. And looking at revising the terms and conditions to include a little bit of education for the plot holders on things like mulching, water rights, composting,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yes, yeah. Sarah?
Yeah, no, really, really interesting topic. Thank you so much. So you had a meeting with the plot holders. Overall, are they understanding and
Very
positive
much so.
about the fact that there needs to be an increase in water, but and
Yeah, I think so. I think they're really keen to
Okay.
educate other plot holders,
Yeah.
but they're unsure how to go about doing that because of course you don't see everybody all the time.
was there anything that they said about, well, how could they communicate more with
well,
others, or is
no.
their systems of communication efficient and do they work?
I don't know. They hold their annual meeting every year, but I don't know if that's enough.
And there is an email trail in between the managers and the plot holders, but obviously that's, the communication down to those channels really. I think it is quite a positive outreach, but
Yeah, so it's Gavin.
In amongst all the little things that can be done, rather than a watering can, there are rotary water containers, so they can go to the tap and roll it back to the plot.
we have explored these options, and of course trolleys, water tanks on trolleys. It's all good. We could definitely explore these options. It's just keeping these how should we say, keeping these pieces of equipment from going missing, sort of throughout. They have to be stored away in a secure place, so they don't go walking off site and whatnot. So it sort of explores additional storage ideas, and
I mean, the health benefits of growing your own vegetables and having, which
Absolutely.
I've always done it and I still do it, even though I've got a smaller garden, but there's nothing like your own runner beans, there's nothing like your own potatoes, and it's really a lovely thing for us to encourage.
Yeah, and
and it's healthy lifestyle.
absolutely,
isn't
and
it?
the social aspect for
It's
a lot of people
great.
down there is,
Yes.
it's a very thriving
Yes,
social.
it is, isn't it? Yes, it's ticks all the boxes really. So thank you for the work, and we'll watch the space really. Keep us posted. Next items are on the Climate and Nature Emergency Advisory Group project, which the update is here really. Any comments on that? Okay, so that's progress. So we move on to finances. Any comment on the finances? Which is only up to, is it up to
End of October.
end of October, isn't it? So it's sort of not even, it's about half the year, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, so the only ones you'd have up that are end of November,
Yes.
which could usually be produced for, say, kind of late December, but of course with the Christmas break.
Sure.
So it's not that out of date. Yeah.
No. So next time, come February, we'll have. Oh, yeah.
It should be December.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I think there's no big surprises though, really. I don't think we've got any comments. And so we move on to Sheridan's report on the temporary mooring charges, which seems to me eminently sensible. I don't know what other people, how others view this, Glenn.
I was just a bit confused why we've removed the distinction between large and small boats. I get that we're reducing the cost of a mooring for a small boat under 30 foot from 375 to 300, but we were charging 750 for the big boats, which obviously was too high. But they're getting a discount of 450 rather than £75. I'm just not sure why that makes sense.
Outside of regatta time, then boats pay a flat fee regardless of size.
Okay.
It is mainly for ease and clarity and simplicity. The current system has not worked, and this is an opportunity to just basically simplify that and hopefully make it a bit more attractive.
Would it not be sensible to charge a higher rate for a boat that's potentially twice the size?
You could potentially,
But we're down a lot.
Wouldn't have a great objection to that.
Well, I consulted Rory because he knows more about the river than I do, and he thinks that the reason we're down is because we didn't allow weekly bookings, which we are now going to do, which makes sense.
We were 10%
We do.
2 years ago.
Do you want to come back on that?
No, we only allowed weekly bookings. That was
Okay.
the issue.
Was it?
Yes, and so regardless of how long you want to stay, then you had to pay for the full week. And so people actually turning up towards the end of the week figured out that actually it was cheaper for them to not pay and to
Yes.
receive more in charge notices.
Okay, so that does make sense. I've got confused there, but
And also having a reserved space as well is key issue.
yes,
So that
places, that was it. But we're deliberately not charging more for much larger boats.
That's not in this proposal unless people decide otherwise. So,
Well, I was, funnily enough, sorry.
I'm sorry, historically we have charged more for larger boats, but just not in this proposal. Okay.
I was going to pick up on exactly the
Sarah?
same, believe it or not. 3.8A, price of £50 per night per boat is set for regatta, Henry Royal Regatta, and that's regardless of size. And I mean, I see those massive, great hotel boats down there.
There's a different policy on commercial boats, is there not?
Is there?
They
I
have
mean,
to request
how-
permission to be there
Yes.
for a start,
yes, but
and over a certain size, they have to also request permission.
Yeah, so
Okay.
for commercial operations, you have to pay for mooring fee, and then you also have to separately arrange a license to trade.
Okay, so they can't just, right, okay, they can't just park.
But the one thing to note is that if you were to set a higher price for larger boats, it would still need to be under the £75 that it would be for the mooring charge notice. Either that, or if you wanted to create a distinction, you could set a lower price for small boats.
I see.
Okay. I like your point, actually, that it's, the earnings potential is much greater. And it is an important community asset being under-occupied during the peak period. I think that's a very, very strong point for not being too greedy, really. We want to see it used. We want people to come into the town. They come into the restaurants. They're there for the week. And let's do a fair price. And it seems comparable with the Redland Farm lot
No,
as well.
I mean, I
Yes.
agree.
Yeah.
I just think that if you've got a boat that's going to take sort of 2 moorings, or it's going to be, you know, and then there's some poor old person that wants to come down isn't going to be able to get in. Because one large boat is going to be paying 50 quid. But I suppose you just have to see how it goes, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't even know who would monitor this anyway, if we changed the.
Yeah, well, it would be Carl, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
You
it would.
guys.
Not me
Yeah.
personally, but
Yes.
Your responsibility. Yes, Carl.
Sorry, it was just it's a very valid point. However, I feel like a few years ago we did work, but when we had the moorings before, regatta week was heavily used, and then obviously it was taken over district enforcement, and then the prices would go up, and we kind of scared everyone away. So I feel like if we were to do this for now, regardless of size, get people back through the door, we are charging less for peak times, and then we could possibly look at that further down the line. Just flying the kite.
Would you put the houseboats in the larger size?
Depends on the size of the houseboat.
I mean, when we come,
I mean, those houseboats are, they're all
Whether it's
sort
double-
of,
And
they're
I-
pretty standard size,
I can
aren't they?
kind of separate them a little bit, because the houseboats don't generally like to be around regatta time, because the prices go up.
Yeah.
However, you've got the traffic where people have taken the week off that do own a boat, and they'd like to come regatta week, and they do want somewhere reasonable to stay. So there is a shift in perhaps the usage, the different people for different, they're coming down for regatta rather than they live on the boat and they want to be in Henley that week.
Yeah,
and pay the extra money. So
yeah,
there's a little bit of, jiggery pokery that we can
yeah,
play with.
yeah. I like that they can reserve spaces too in advance. That hasn't always been the
We've
case,
never done
has
that.
it?
We haven't done that before, but
No.
yeah, it's
No, because we had all that during the VE 80th celebration when the houseboat people wanted to book places, and it was really,
yeah.
I mean, it worked in the end because we had a different system, but they were quite aggrieved that they couldn't book and
Yeah.
be sure of their
It was
space
a
for
bit
those
of a-
particular days when they wanted to be here.
But
Yeah,
I mean, if people do want to stay, before, when they wanted to stay, they kind of got in early, pitched their
Yes, they
spot,
did.
and they didn't move. This is
Yeah.
my spot. So,
it was quite good, and it was a lovely
yeah.
display. Of
Yeah, it was.
Brilliant atmosphere. Yeah,
It was.
lovely. So we have a proposal.
We got one more.
Sarah.
Thank you. 2 questions. How would the reservation work in practice?
This is a very good question because we haven't done it before. But yeah, we're basically, if we get pre-bookings, then we will work out the size. Well, we'll find out the size of the boat, and we will create a spot. Probably the week before regatta, we will put signs up saying this space needs to be vacated by the date that they are coming in, and then we will just carry on monitoring it day by day. It's around regatta time. You have to be very much on site to monitor
Yeah.
real front.
Thank you. And the second question is, you suggested that we go with this proposal, but then have a way of reviewing if it has worked or not.
Yeah.
So what would that look like in practice?
So my point when I said that is, I feel like we should show people that it isn't the fees that scared them away in the first place. It's kind of getting them back through the door, and then
Scare them off again.
later on we can creep them or to something along those extent.
Sure.
Okay.
So with regard to the pricing review, it is reviewed annually anyway. When it was reviewed last year, it was felt, we'll give it a second year just to see if it worked, if it was the shock of the price increase, whatever, and it wasn't. So what's the process in place? The fact that it was going to be annually reviewed anyway.
Okay, I just wondered if we're likely to tell if this pricing increase brings the. We'll know. You'll keep a record of
Yes.
the number of
it'll
boats
be
and small
very
boats,
interesting to see what
something
the
like that.
It'll
was
be
good to
shown on the
track.
sheets.
Yeah, great.
Quite a lot of people on the water are novice. And we want to avoid double mooring as well, so where they moor onto the side of the boat. We can't charge for that because it's not our land, they're moored onto a boat, it's onto us. It's a tricky area, but what we can do is make sure that people know they would lose their space if they allowed people to moor alongside them for the week,
That's interesting.
which would then deter the double moorings. And I mean, we might not want to do anything about it at all, but I'm
What do
just.
you think about that, Carl?
The mooring abreast.
Where they do, one's moored and then they have another
Yeah,
on
we
the other
used-
side where there doesn't
we used
pay.
to charge.
Charge.
Yeah,
And you never have problems paying.
never had problems with
Fair play.
payers. So
Leave it.
So you charge if they.
Then leave it, yeah, if they're happy to pay,
They
then.
charge, yeah. Well,
If-
If they're friends and they've.
yeah, it
You know, they
doesn't
do.
matter if they're more.
I didn't realise we could charge them. so that's great.
Yes.
Just quickly, if we did charge, say 450 a week for the larger boats, that's still less than £75 a day, if it's one day off. It'd only be 50% more expensive than the small boats, rather than double, as it was before, and it would be £300 cheaper than we're currently charging. I don't know if we want to go down that road. I mean, I hear like trying to get the people back in first and see what happens, but I don't know if big boats are a real problem, but if it was only big boats, we'd lose a lot of money.
Yes, I understand that. Generally, it's kind of, there's not many big boats. There are big boats on the river, don't get me wrong. However, historically, I wouldn't say that the riverside that gets taken up by lots of big boats, but that's not to say that one year we're not completely bombarded with big boats, but I get where you're coming from as well, Glenn.
We might be now that we're allowing them to reserve the space.
No, of course, yeah, of course, yeah. They're thinking,
Yes,
no,
I'm
you're-
60.
A
and
learning
you are on
experience.
something there, yeah.
Sharon.
I would prefer that we are on the cheaper side and fill up the moorings. And when we get to a position where our moorings are full and we've attracted people back, and then we can review it and maybe look at small incremental increases. Rather than if, I don't think it looks good if we just keep bringing the cost down each time. So if this doesn't work and people aren't mooring because again it's too expensive, then we have to reduce our fees again.
We're not talking about a huge amount of money, actually, are we? So,
I think it's incredibly cheap for the Henry Royal Regatta for mooring. I mean, I could go and I could rent, you can't even get a room in Henley for what? 300, 400 quid a night.
but this is the
You do
sort
have
of
to pay for
discussion
boat
we
as
had
well.
I know,
last
you've got to
year
pay
when
the
we
boat,
put
yeah.
these very high prices
Yeah.
in, It's,
This is,
I mean, it's up for you to decide if you want to
Yeah.
make a proposal.
I mean, I don't
fine.
want to, I don't want people not to come, of course, but I mean, it does seem incredibly cheap to me, but.
Maybe we can have we'll have an idea if we do have a review this time next year of how many of those were large boats. And that answers the question, doesn't it?
We could keep a detailed
and that
review of
how
everything,
many are over, whatever.
and we could
And then we've got information to work on, really. At the moment, we're sort of.
I'm happy to work either way. If you decided that you wanted to put the price up, then we will obviously work to whatever is reviewed. So, but we can also we can get a detailed review of this coming regatta to bring information for next year, perhaps.
Yeah.
But as you said,
Can I make a proposal then that
Please
we record the number of large boats over 30 foot that do book?
over 30 foot.
So that we can have that data when we review next year.
Yeah.
Anyone second
That's
that?
a good idea, yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So we vote on that and then we vote on the main one. Is that right?
Yes,
We've accepted, well, we voted, you've got a proposal and second and we've supported that. So then we have the recommendation here, £50 a night per boat, 300 a week, and weekly moorings booking in advance, a space can be reserved. So I'm happy to propose that from the chair. Kelly to second. All those in favour? So that's carried. So we will wait and see. That will be very interesting. Thank you for that. And our next one is to replace the curved bench, and this is Carl's report. Thank you very much. So we replace this bench, which, if it was dedicated to George VI, is it been there since when did she become, she was 52, 53. So it's been there sort of in the 30s, was it?
It's been there a long time. I don't want to put a date on it because I've been here since 2004 and it's been there since then. So,
Yes.
however, over the years it has we have refurbed it, we've fixed repairs, refurbed it, and just over time and vandalism and just general wear and tear, it has failed. Our bench contractor who repairs all our memorial benches, he got to the point where he said we have to stop now. So it was just the fact that we need a new curved bench, and I thought that perhaps we could commemorate.
I think that's a lovely idea, personally. And that whole seating area is very special and very well used, isn't it? Yeah. Kelly.
You say it's very old, but it's a bit like Only Fools and Horses, where he's got the broom. It's like 20 years old, but it's had 5 new heads and 7 new handles. But it's where I see these benches all of the time. So it's where Ben's boats are usually moored, and there are people constantly using them. We've known this all the time. We've had various projects around them, like the Euronymous and things like that. And so, it's an absolute no-brainer to me that needs replacing. They're used much more than our much sturdier benches. People really do like to sit there. It's high traffic. It makes sense to me.
Lovely.
No-brainer.
Sarah,
Yes, I am in support of replacing the bench, and thank you so much for all the work you've done to repair it and to repair it and repair it, and now it's reached the point of it has reached the end of its life. I did have a quick Google around a couple of things to make sure that we weren't going to upset anybody by renaming or replacing the King George, and I couldn't see anything. I Googled King George Memorial Benches, and there wasn't a specific website, so I just didn't want us to upset anyone like that, but I think it's a really great idea to commemorate King Charles's coronation. I think the element that I would like to raise is about the supplier and the sustainability. So I understand that you've returned to somebody who has been a previous supplier. I did look into their website, and I hope I got the right website. I don't know, maybe Sheridan can advise on this. And yes, they do have, if it is the right website that I was looking at, they do have a sustainability section on it. I'm sure all of us can be really aware that where we source our wood from can be quite important from a sustainability perspective. And there is an organisation that I trust, that I hope many people will trust, the WWF, Worldwide Fund for Nature, and they have got this new toolkit, or a toolkit, that looks at where does the source of your wood come from. I have sent you now and Sheridan some further information about how the sustainability sources of this company can be a bit questionable because it comes from Indonesia. So I would just basically like to pitch that we do look at some other suppliers and just see if there's a possibility to make sure that we are going for a bench that has as good as we can possibly get sustainability resources or certification. Partly I say that because King Charles is known as an environmental advocate, and I'm sure he would be wanting us to make sure that we get a bench that is of the highest environmental standard.
Absolutely,
because, of what he stands for. So it's just, I am in principle supportive of spending that amount of money for a curved bench. I would just love it to be as sustainable as possible.
Perfect.
And if further research can be done for that, that would be great. I don't know if I need to propose that or do something, but...
Carl, what timber is it? Is it teak?
I believe so, yes. It is teak, yeah.
Okay. But, this country is very hot on providing phytosanitaires and paperwork to show that it's come from a sustainable source. Now, that of course can be faked, and but it is. I do have to know that it's extremely difficult to import timber into this country without all the correct paperwork. But that is you're quite right to raise it. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. And you sent it to me this time, have you?
Well, Sheridan is like I uploaded it.
Okay, so we
Thank
have a proposal, and Kelly, were you going to propose that?
Yeah.
Yes,
happy
yeah,
to.
and I'm happy to second it. All those in favour? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for your report. And yes, when we have the bench and we've dedicated it to our new king, maybe we can have a little, the mayor at the time can be the first to sit on the bench. And,
Or the king himself.
Or
the
king, yeah, or whatever. Yes, so we'll do that in the fullness of time. Yes.
Sorry, I was meant to say that Rory did make a very valid point about asking permission.
Oh, to use his.
to
Oh, do we have to do
commemorate
that?
that. Yes, I didn't realise that myself.
That would make sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to write to,
Yeah, we've done that already. We're just waiting for a reply.
Dear King, can we name it after you? Yeah, okay.
We don't want to rub it.
There's his picture, there we are.
There we are.
Yeah, very good.
So-
With that, I close the meeting.
So,
Thank you
Ron,
very
Thanks
much.
a lot.
Grub Chaz, right the wrong way.